What you're about to learn may be difficult to apply right away, but just understanding the way that Khan manipulates the wave in today's guide will truly help your wave control in every aspect. Let's jump into analysis. Khan is on Fiora this time up against Camille. These two have around even damage in general, but Camille will win short trades when she has a passive available, while Fiora can look for quick in and out trades when Camille goes for last hits. For wave clear, it's about even for both champions, while their range is also even, being melee. Everything here seems about even, so on the surface, this seems like a really difficult one to create a game plan for. So we'll have to look deeper into how both champions interact to figure out how each champion will look to win the lane phase. Because Camille will win short trades early when utilizing her passive, she does have the potential to bully Fiora if the lane is neutral. However, if Fiora is able to set up a freeze near her tower, it would rule out the possibility of Camille bullying her with her passive, and Camille would have to tank tower shots if she ever uses her E onto the Fiora. With that in mind, Khan's missions on the Fiora are going to be: Mission 1. Let the wave push. By letting Camille push, Fiora can unlock the possibility of receiving a gank while laning safely until level 6. Mission 2. Hold the freeze. Fiora will want to buy as much time as possible for these two goals, so holding the freeze after letting it push is the clear choice here. Mission 3. Rinse and repeat and just wait for ganks and level 6. Fiora will want to wait for either jungle help or to get level 6 safely, where she would then be able to win the 1v1 since her ultimate deals much more consistent damage than Camille's. It's just stronger for the 1v1. Now, while this sounds straightforward, it's the execution from Khan that we're about to get into which is most exciting. So let's get into it. Starting off, we see Khan leashing for Nocturne. This is fine because he isn't looking to actively shove the wave, as his goal is to let the wave push towards his tower and set up a freeze. As Khan gets into lane, you'll notice that Camille has actually got a head start on pushing. This immediately gets us wondering, why would Camille play into Fiora's game plan by pushing in top Korean Challenger? So Camille pushing right away isn't bad for her, but it's not optimal because it relies on Khan making mistakes. A push lead means a possible level advantage or a quick shove to the tower, but with their wave clear evenly matched, these are two things that Khan can deal with if he plays well. Whereas if Camille didn't push at all, she could have kept the wave neutral for the beginning and then looked to get harassed with her passive, keeping the ball in her court. We see Khan path towards the minions, and at this point there's a super low health melee on both sides. Most players in this situation would be tunneled on going for their last hit here because they feel like CS difference is the top priority and would be more than willing to sacrifice health to score a CS when they're at 100%. However, because Camille got the immediate push, she'll actually get her last hit before Fiora reaches this melee, leaving her with a free opportunity to punish without losing anything. She would get the CS and then auto W auto Fiora for free. If they both would have hit the CS at the same time though, then Fiora should go for it. So Khan gives up this CS, and then a few seconds later the same situation arises, so he gives up another. Only picking up 1 out of 3 so far, but he actually gets the win here, because the wave is pushing towards him for mission 1. So he's down in CS, but he's already starting to win the lane. Fiora pushes up a little and starts thinning out these casters, by spreading damage evenly between them. This may have you asking two questions. Why isn't he leaving the casters at full life? And why is Camille letting him push up? So he's thinning out these casters' collective health so that Camille doesn't push too quickly. We'll explain more on this soon. Secondly, Camille is letting him push up because she's scared of a level 2 gank. She knows that Fiora leashed topside and Nocturne could be here now. Khan misses a vital and ends up getting caught out by Camille's level 2 lead. This obviously wasn't great from Khan, but the bigger picture for mission 1 and 2 are still in play, so he's happy with how this is going. This was also an expensive trade from Camille's side because she hit most of the wave with her W. While her wave was already pushing, she doesn't have the wave clear to shove it to the tower. So this W accelerated the inevitable freeze that's coming up from Khan from the start, unless Camille is able to get really aggressive and capitalize on this. Alright, so let's dig into the impressive nuances behind Khan's upcoming freeze that he's really about to get to work on. Typically when trying to apply a basic freeze, it involves letting your opponent push, thin out the wave so that they're 2 or 3 minions ahead, then usually holding the wave in some way, either by trading or tanking it, to buy time for your next wave to come up and hold the freeze. However, in a losing matchup, which in this case it is until level 6, Khan will want to hold the freeze for mission 2, and he's going to go about this in a very specific way. He will aim to thin out the melee minions on the opposing side to allow the enemy wave to gain a larger caster advantage, by about 1 or 2. When done correctly, this will allow Fiora's melees to connect with the enemy casters more quickly on the upcoming waves, staggering Camille's push to the turret to effectively apply a freeze but without much risk. So here's a clear example of this happening. Khan has been thinning out the melees and finishing them off as his new wave is about to arrive. If he didn't do this, the 2 waves would connect right around here. But with the melees cleared out and the caster advantage on the opposing side, Khan's melees are about to connect to the casters with the waves colliding in this spot instead. This maintains Camille's push for mission 1, but it slows it down to leave the wave on Fiora's side for as long as possible without taking risks. We'll see a more advantageous looking example of this in just a moment, but we can already see Fiora is setting herself up safely during her weakest moments of the lane. Khan continues to thin out the melees alongside this caster that's pushed up and will die anyway. He avoids trading while doing this, and the wave pushes up to his optimal freezing zone where he will want to work on mission 2, but he's been preparing to hold the freeze this whole time by thinning out the wave. So at this point we see a couple of low health blue melees still alive. Ideally these would be dead. Camille did a good job of getting aggressive, and while this is not optimal for Khan, it's still a success, because these 2 red melees are delaying the bulk of the wave getting into tower range. Now with this huge wave that Camille has built, it's about to crash into the tower. It looks like a standard push from her side. Can you tell why this is still an effective freezing method for Khan? Think about it. Alright, so when it comes to wave management, most players do not consider the upcoming waves. Because this wave from Camille is so large and primarily built up of ranged minions, it's going to take a while for it to get into tower range. This effectively means that Camille cannot get a clean reset on her wave, not even close, since the upcoming red wave will connect to this blue wave at the tower, causing Camille's upcoming wave to sit in a similar spot in Fiora's freezing zone for mission 3. Let's take a look. As we can see, Fiora's new wave of 6 connects with Camille's 4 casters, long enough for the next blue wave to sit in the perfect spot. Camille ends up using a very intelligent teleport in terms of ruining Khan's freezing method, as this will hold the red wave under tower long enough for the upcoming melees to get into tower range, which would reset Khan's freeze. However, unfortunately for the Camille, this teleport is effectively firing a flare, begging to get ganked, as Nocturne is currently topside. Let's see what happens. Alright, so Fiora has gained a big lead with mission 3 thanks to the Nocturne gank. But she was reaching her goal anyway since she's close to level 6 at this point with her excellent wave control ready for her ultimate. Now hopefully you've gained a pretty good understanding of this freezing technique, but what matchup should you use it for? So this is good for any matchup where you have the laning disadvantage, but going up against different levels of wave clear will require you to actively thin in different ways. Ideally, you want to leave your opponent with only a 1 or 2 caster minion advantage right up until the point where it ends up crashing into your tower, as we saw Khan do here. We'll explain more details on this in our active mission video coming up after this. Khan ends up shoving the wave and teleporting back into lane. This is typical from Khan, as he would rather spend his teleport advantage to not fall behind on experience and keep up the pressure, buying a Doran's Blade, Longsword and Control Ward along the way. He kills up this next wave and looks for Harass, resetting it so that the wave goes into the middle or pushing towards him. Then he can get aggressive. Now this part right here is what can truly seal Camille's fate and tilt your lane opponent, placing a control ward after you gain a lead. Once you have a lead like this, your opponent can't go and clear it and will always be wary from another visit from the jungler. It applies an insane amount of pressure for only 75 gold, so always do this. At this point, with the advantage that Khan has and the momentum he's gaining, it's only a matter of time before he writes off Camille from the Rift. Let's speed up to see how he does it. Khan starts trading more actively and recklessly because even if he doesn't win these trades, he'll have Camille low for his level 6. He thins out the wave while doing this for an all-in. Camille gets a little bit flustered and tries to make something happen. She knows her window is passed and goes in on Khan with her E, but thanks to Khan's excellent reaction and decision to teleport from earlier for the experience, he actually dings level 6 while stunning Camille with Riposte and runs her down with ultimate. Alright, so this whole guide has been about exploiting Camille for her early push, which we think that she shouldn't do right away. Which begs the question, what if Camille doesn't push? While we're short on time to really dig into this, here's the bottom line. Khan won't push the wave, so if Camille kept it even, she would struggle to hit her win condition of trading and winning early without aggroing the minions, causing them to hit her and not the wave, causing it to push. This could work for Camille if she did a better job at denying Khan from constantly thinning out the wave the entire time, gaining pressure and actually crashing the wave later. But with Khan so effectively executing this game plan, we could say that Fiora wins early with such an intelligent strategy. What do you think? Alright, so that was a lot of information. Let's recap the key points from today's guide. Khan went into this matchup knowing that he should lose early, so he developed a strategy to deal with this. He constantly thinned out the melee minions, leaving Camille with a 1-2 caster lead the entire time. He killed the enemy melees off in time for his new waves to connect with the leftover enemy casters multiple times, delaying Camille's push and keeping him safe on his side of the lane. When Camille finally got to push into the tower, her wave ended up with an army of ranged minions, which took forever to get into tower range, buying time for Khan's next wave to collide. Camille tried to end this technique with a super intelligent teleport, which would have got Khan's wave pushing much more quickly towards her. But this was Nocturne's trigger to stop jungling and head straight to top lane. Khan translated this lead into his level 6 all-in with flawless execution, only to go at Camille again later with a dive from Nocturne's level 6. Alright, so that's it for this one. Let us know what you thought since this featured a ton of complex wave control stuff. Thanks for watching and we'll see you next time.